Welcome to everyone tuning in to Art Network, the podcast, episode 8. I'm here with Amelia. She invited us up to her awesome studio and her workplace. We shot a bunch of content and some live videos. It was pretty awesome hanging out here. So now we're doing the podcast. And yeah, Amelia, if you want to just tell everyone like what your Instagram account is and a little bit about how long you've been painting, and just some basics.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram at ameliast.art, and that's pretty much my handle for Twitter and Facebook as well. So I don't know.
6 years?
6 years. Well, I've been painting consistently for 6 years.
Like where you've done it, like if you were working out or something, like consistently and committed. But you've been creative your whole life?
Yes, I've always been like, into art, and I guess every artist says that, but I've always had a fascination with painting specifically. I got really into charcoal for a while, and just oil pastels, different like mixed media and stuff. I always love like playing with textures and different paints and stuff like that, and kind of combining all of it.
So like how old were you when you kind of like transitioned from doing it kind of for fun to, hey, let me try to make some money out of this?
Well,
or not just like make money, but when you were
yeah.
focused on it.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I was going back to college. I think I was 18 or 19, and at the time I was going to school for business. So I went for about a year, and then I decided, like, I wanted to start my own business. And before I did that, I had a lot of people telling me that it's not realistic to be a successful artist and, live comfortably.
You already flirted with the idea of
yeah,
I want to do art, but then you're in business school, kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always took, like, all my extra classes
Art.
were all art, drawing, stuff like that. But actually, it's kind of funny because my professor, he would assign these projects, and I would never follow them, ever. And I would do my own stuff, and I would be like, "Please, professor, just trust me on this. Like,
don't give me a D."
Yeah, don't fail me. I promise I'm listening to you, but can I just do it my way? And he was incredibly supportive of me. He always encouraged me to do my own stuff. He always gave me A's on all of my exams, which I didn't even take half of them because I was focused on my own stuff. And it's great because, years down the line now, we're still in touch. He still critiques my work. He, sometimes he'll write on my little Facebook, like, Amelia is, by far the most successful artist that I've ever had in one of my classes. And I think it's so amazing because I didn't get a degree in art. I just really wanted to pursue something that I loved.
So you're in business school, you're just out of high school, but you also have this passion for artwork, and then you mentioned you started your own business.
Yeah.
Were you, when you made that decision, like, okay, I'm not going to go back to school for the second year, and I'm just going to do the business, what made you do, like, you said art business, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So did that art business have a name? Was it just you as an artist? Or?
It was always just Amelia ST. Those are my initials. And over time, it's become Amelia Street. So
is the street because of the influence of street art? Or what's the street part?
Yeah, I think it's a little...
You're from the streets?
No. I think it's just kind of an influence of street art as well. Like, that's how my art kind of evolved. Now I use a lot of spray paint and stuff like that. So. And
you mentioned charcoal. So when you were into charcoal, is that when you were doing portraits and like realistic drawing with charcoal?
Yeah, mostly sketches, but I did a lot of like anatomy studies in charcoal. I did a lot of portraits in charcoal as well. But before I decided I wanted to start my business, but I didn't really know how to go about it. So I had all these people in different directions telling me, like, you can't do this, be realistic, think about your future, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, but I see all these other street artists and fine artists and portrait artists that are so successful, and
How?
you know,
Yeah.
like online, and you know, all these like time lapses of huge murals on buildings, and I'm like, there's gotta be a way. Like, it's not impossible if these people are doing it, you know. So during that time, I explored with, you know, web design, logo design, um, any type of graphic design. I was trying to force myself to enjoy that, learn it, and enjoy it. Because I was
To
like,
then
oh,
market it, like to use it for the business, or
no, just
for
because
yourself.
for myself, for as a career path. But then I realized very quickly that it wasn't my thing, and I'm a stubborn person. If I like something, I go after it. If I don't like it, I cut it out. So,
Cool.
so I realized quickly that I wanted to just start painting again. So I worked side jobs, you know, all types of side hustles, bartending, waitressing, you know, just anything that could give me like the flexibility to work on my own stuff.
And this is in like Washington D.C.,
Yeah.
Virginia, that
Mm-hmm.
whole area. Okay.
Yeah. And I just kept focusing on my painting, and then like that was the time where Instagram like really started to blow up. So I was like, I was always against, like, not against, but I wasn't into
Like
social
putting
media.
your life on social media.
Yeah, I never
okay.
liked that. So
Like the long Facebook posts about
yeah,
your whole day and everything.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But then I realized, as I saw a lot of art on Instagram, that this is like the perfect platform. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need to share my whole life. I just want to share what I love.
Awesome.
So that's when I started to share a lot of my stuff and paint more and more and more. And gradually, people started to take notice. And
I love how you call your pursuit of getting your art out there. I like how you reference it as a business.
yeah,
That's something I haven't really heard. I have my art business, right?
Mhm.
But I've never really referred to my own like artwork like as a business. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's an important step for anyone listening. Treat your art and your brand and who you are as a business.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
for sure. Every move that you make, you know, as a solo entrepreneur, has to be like very well thought out. Everything has to revolve around what you do. You have to eat, sleep, and breathe what you do, and you also have to be very passionate about it, because if you're not, then it's not going to work out. You
There's
know?
no value behind it. There's
Yeah,
no...
and it's exhausting to begin with.
So how did you start getting yourself out there when you were doing this? Like, did you get some murals, some commissions? How did you go about sharing your work?
So like while I was painting a lot, I would also like I would post a lot on social media. Um, I would do a lot of like local events, small shows, pancakes and booths,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Cool.
And
You
and I
told me
was
you were like cold calling or
Yeah.
just going to businesses
yeah.
too.
So I really wanted to build up my clientele, and not just sell like cheaper paintings, like small pieces to, you know, to different clients. I really wanted like a bigger clientele, so I went to like restaurants, bars, and stuff like that, and I would do my research and like just do a local search of what bars and restaurants are opening up in DC or Northern Virginia or
Opening.
Arlington, or yeah,
Oh,
are
so
opening
smart.
up. Yeah. So then I would like reach out to all these owners and managers and stuff, and attach photos of my work and things like that, and just tell them like, if you guys, I would call them up and ask them like, if you guys need art, like I know you're building your space right now, so please let me know. And I would stop by in person. I really was like hustling. I was cold calling. I was showing up in
So
person.
you
I
weren't
was meeting all
scared
the
of
owners.
people telling you no or...
No, at the beginning it was difficult. I'm not gonna lie, because you get hundreds of no's before you hear one yes, and that was tough. But you gotta like move past that. You just have to know that it's gonna happen.
Would you attack it so like people listening who have artwork and want to get it out to businesses like you did, would you pursue more of, hey, I'll do a mural or custom work, or I'll leave this work here on consignment? Like, what angle would you approach?
To be honest, the way that I like to work is, you know, very black and white. I don't really like to like rent out my work, because
Okay.
I think like the value of it is not to be rented. You know what I mean? It's like you have it, you own it, or you don't.
Got it.
So I think it really just depends on
So
what
you would
direction you
sell,
want
you
to.
would like sell them your work up front.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sell
And
my
then they
work.
could keep it or resell it. Like the owner of the place could essentially do what they wanted.
I never really dealt with that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I never dealt with like the owner wanting to resell my work. I always worked with people that
Would buy it.
felt like my art represented their vibe in their restaurant or their bar.
Cool.
You know what I mean? I never wanted it to be like a situation where I sell them my work and they're just trying to make profit off of it. Besides, restaurant owners don't really have time for that anyway. They just want something that represents
Their
their
restaurant.
brand
Okay.
in their venue. So
Awesome. And
Yeah.
then did you get like a big client or something, or someone that opened the doors to you?
yeah. I had a couple people actually who really started to notice what I was doing as my work was blowing up. A lot of the portraits that I've done in the past were, reposted and recognized by celebrities,
So
or
cool.
I would meet them in person, which was great. And
I,
that
I saw one on your Instagram that I took note of was you've done a few portraits for DJ Khaled, which is cool.
yeah, that was cool. And I guess over the past couple years, that whole like painting
Referral.
celebrities thing
Yeah.
has like blown up, for exposure. I think it's great, but I think to focus on that is not the best decision
Yeah.
for an artist, because you have to get paid for what you do at some point. At the beginning, it's good because you get exposure and things like that, but that's not going to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So it's important to focus on other things too. How am I going to sell to people when it's not a celebrity portrait? Because not everyone wants that in their home, So yeah, I did stuff like that, and I had a lot of local business owners who wanted like commissions for their homes, or kind of wanted a revamp in their bars. So that also helped a lot. But again, this was over like years and years of no's.
Yeah, of
you know?
course. And working part-time gigs and making it by. And so now it's pretty cool. You've been painting for about 3 years that you've not had to like worry about other things and just focus on your artwork.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty cool feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. I really think it's important for artists, and I've realized this kind of recently in the past year, is the more that you paint, the more that you like pour yourself into your work, the more commissions you're gonna get. Like, you can't go around chasing these shows or acting like, oh, I deserve this, I deserve that, I want like the nicest gallery show, I want the nicest places to represent my work. You really have to be painting and hustling every single day. People who like your art, they reach out, they want a piece from you. You gotta like really follow up with them, give them the best, most valuable painting that you could provide possible. It's a business, but it's also like it's your passion, so you have to combine the two and really work your ass off, because if not, then nobody's gonna believe in you. Nobody's gonna, people buy my paintings because they see me working day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? They don't see me like
Half-ass.
taking these like luxurious pictures of fucking like me and my painting like on a Lambo. People don't commission me for that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's because they see how hard I work, and I put my soul into everything, and that's important. People don't see you working, they're not gonna want your work. So I think that's something that I feel very strongly about.
Yeah. And I can definitely tell that from being here with you. You're very focused on your craft.
Yeah.
You put a lot of mental, well, like you were saying, you go with the flow, you're creative and stuff, but you're very meticulous in terms of making sure your product like comes out nice. Like I have that vibe, like you treat everything very well. And so that's cool. I mean, in my experience, like just kind of getting into the arts and learning things, there's one thing creating the work, and then there's another thing like taking care of all your equipment, transporting your work. Like I've dinged so many of my dad's paintings and my
Yeah.
paintings, just transporting them. So you kind of learn as a process that
It happens, yeah.
that
But-
these canvases are so delicate. Yeah, they're super delicate.
Yeah, that's something I guess you just learn over time. You got to really take care of your stuff and your supplies, because once it's damaged, years from now when it's worth like so much money or so much more, you don't want it to be like so busted up, you know what I mean? So
And so I notice you have all these big canvases. Is this kind of a period you're in? How long have you been doing these big canvases with the the expression and the feelings and the backgrounds? Is this a series or what is this?
well, I've been doing pretty large canvases for 3-4 years now, and I just love working like large scale.
Mm.
And I'm starting to do even like bigger than these. A lot of my commissions have been like 5 by 7 feet, or one was like 6 by 8 feet.
And you work on those big ones here still when they're that big?
Yeah, and those I actually build because you can't find them in
So
the stores.
you build, oh wow, so you stretch your own canvas
Yeah.
and you like cut the wood and
Yeah.
do all of that?
No, I don't cut the wood. I just have the frame and I stretch the canvas and I prime it and everything.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so those are a lot of work, but I just love like big pieces of artwork. I love like it's like a statement when you walk in somewhere.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, definitely.
So plus it's my work is very colorful, and I also think like the size of the piece and all the splatters of color and stuff, it just grabs your attention, you know?
I like to say it gets parts of the brain activity and parts of the brain that maybe aren't so active for some people.
Yeah.
Like you and me, we're around colors and paints and all this stuff all day.
Yeah.
But if someone is having a very, I don't know, like dull feelings about life or something, and they walk into a room and there's a very like amazing piece of work, I feel like it can ignite like parts of their brain subconsciously.
Yeah.
They don't even know.
Yeah.
And then who knows, maybe they start doing cool things or something.
Yeah, I mean, art is inspiring in so many ways, you know? And that's all I want to do is like inspire people to like get off their asses and do something that they like or they love, or that really that they're passionate about.
And that's
know?
another super cool thing about all these platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. I feel like so many people are sacrificing basic careers and social and economic safety to pursue their creative paths, whether that's modeling, photography, art, singing. I think it's pretty cool that people have the platforms to pursue it, and maybe not everyone gets famous, but since everyone's so connected, you can have your little following. And so I think that's really cool. I think a lot of people who would never have tapped into those creative things, I think a lot of people are doing that. And it's just the beginning of this whole wave of...
Yeah, I definitely see more and more people pursuing things that they're very passionate about now. Or in the last like couple years, that's been growing a lot. Being an entrepreneur, pursuing like art or painting, whatever it is, starting like their own tech companies or...
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. And everyone's so like young. People are like, oh, fuck school or fuck that job, and I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not against like a 9 to 5. I'm not
No.
against any of that. But I just think whatever makes you feel fulfilled in your life.
Yeah, I feel like
you
I'm
should
just
do.
against people being miserable at those, I'm at this school or I'm at this job because this is the way it's supposed to be. And then they're miserable in that.
Yeah, and like you never know when your time is up in this life. It's very short.
Yeah.
And at least I could say like
I did what
I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
And more than that, I can say that there are people that have been inspired by what I'm doing. That's like the most important thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've had examples of like
Yeah.
young art or like other artists or people who've...
Yeah, I've had not to toot my own horn or anything, but
Toot it. This is the Amelia Street Podcast, episode 8. I gotta write it down.
God knows what
But-
episode.
But what were you gonna say?
No, I always get, really sweet messages like on my social media of people who say, this guy messaged me a couple months ago. My sister passed away, and I used to paint all the time, but after she passed away 10 years ago, I never picked up a brush again. And just seeing what you're doing and seeing how you push through your obstacles, and still make time for the things that you love has inspired me to continue to do that. So, um, things like that, or, you know, what really touches me is like younger creatives, like young women, and um,
Are you
like
talking
teenagers
like
and stuff.
12, 14,
Yeah,
15? Okay.
like they'll send me cute little messages, and it's like, you're my, what do they say? Like, you're my art goals, or like things like
And you're
that.
just like,
And I'm like, it really touches me because my goal in my career is not just to make a lot of money with my art, or um, be super
famous.
like famous
Okay.
and things like that. The most important thing to me is for people to see that what they want in life is possible, and the things that they love and want to pursue, that's that's very feasible in your life. You can make it happen just with a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and you mentioned the hard work and the dedication.
Yeah, and you have to be genuine too. You can't be like a piece of shit, like just
Well, there's no shortcuts.
you know.
Like, there's no real shortcuts. Like, if you buy a bunch of books, or you think you're killing the game, you're a business owner, if you're just taking shortcuts, if you're just like playing this persona or trying to act your way through it,
Yeah.
sometimes you can use like fake it till you make it or acting when you don't know
With
shit.
certain things.
Yeah, but you can't do that with the whole, like, if I want to be an artist and I want to do this, I can't just take shortcuts. You have to really,
Yeah.
you have to do it. There's
Yeah.
pain behind it. You have to have perseverance, setbacks. It's just part of the journey, and that's why certain athletes, certain musicians, anyone who has that goal of like reaching something that's very difficult to get to, they go through all those things. They have to go through adversities,
Yeah.
and keep fighting, and sometimes you never reach your goal, but that might take you down another path that might make you a stronger person. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And since you didn't really go to like a art like school, but you've always been taking art curriculum classes in high school and stuff, have you been able to use YouTube to learn new things? Like, what do you do to learn new things? Do you have any artists that are mentors, or do you just experiment? What do you do?
Honestly, if I see work that I really love, that inspires me, I kind of just analyze what it is about that piece that I love, and if it would be beneficial to incorporate that type of technique into my work. But
So you find the technique. Do you just then try to like figure it out?
I kind of find inspiration. But when I'm painting, I just experiment.
Cool.
To be honest with you, I don't really I don't look at an artist and I'm like, oh, I want to do that in my painting. I kind of just, I take a little inspiration,
Yeah.
it might not even be from like watching an artist paint. It might be just like going out into nature or doing something fun, like going to an art museum or something. And I just feel inspired, and I come home and I just start experimenting, like with different textures, different paints, different mediums. I used to use just acrylic paint and charcoal and mixed media stuff. Now I'm using 3 different kinds of paints. So now I'm using
Flow.
well, I'm using acrylic.
Okay.
I'm using sprays, and I'm using oil for my portraits. And it's funny because a lot of artists used to tell me like, don't ever mix paint, it's gonna crack your painting and stuff. But I just really like the kind of like that cracked, like deteriorating look. But there's a way that you can do it if you're painting a portrait where it's not gonna crack. So
you learned that through like
myself.
trial and error, and
Yeah,
kind of
and
like
by not
getting
listening to other people, because
Cool.
every artist, not every artist, but a lot of people want to tell you what to do and how to do it, and you just have to do your own thing. Just stick to what you're doing. That's the best decision I've ever made, is not following like what everyone's doing, or following like the traditional fine art world. And that's how I found my own style, you know?
Yeah.
So just always like stay true to yourself.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then, if anyone is your apartment, you have a nice apartment here, which is your studio, and you don't want to get like paint everywhere on your apartment. I also saw this at Catlin's studio.
Hmm.
Is this just a blanket? Is that like
It's tarp.
it's
Yeah,
a tarp?
Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
like an art tarp?
Yeah, you can get it from Home Depot.
Oh. So it's like canvas material, kind
Yes,
of?
it is. It's
Yes,
canvas
so
material.
you can just put that on the ground, have all your stuff, put your paintbrushes
Yeah.
on it.
Hmm.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one is like maybe 10 or 15 feet when you stretch it out all the way. So since I do a lot of like drips and things like that, I fold it like 4 times, so it doesn't seep through. But yeah, it's they have plastic ones. You know, it's actually pretty affordable
Yeah.
for
It's
artists.
just so clutch, I guess. I don't know. I just really want to get one. So
Yeah.
anyone listening, if you're an artist and you don't already have one, it's an art tarp, and it's
Hmm.
pretty good to have in your studio.
Hmm.
Now, when uh, you also mentioned that you have a lot of clients that are still up north.
Yeah.
So how do you mail these things? Do you mail them in a big box? Like, how do you do that?
If I'm too busy and I have too many like commissions and stuff, I usually will take it to like FedEx or something, have them ship it for me.
So they
But
just put
that's
it in a
pricey.
big box, like a huge box.
Yeah, they have like art boxes so it doesn't move around.
Oh.
But those are very pricey.
And you
I'm just
don't
gonna
roll it
say
up, right? It's
no.
sent as the.
In the frame. Like I never take my canvases apart
Mm.
and I never send them separately.
Okay. So that's
Um,
pricey when you do it like that, right?
it could be like $200 to $300 for just a 2x3 painting.
Really?
That's yeah,
Wow.
it's very expensive. So if you don't have the time and money for that, which I know a lot of artists don't, you can package it yourself. There's like tutorials and stuff online about how you can do that. You can take like cardboard boxes and kind of like stack them up on each side of your
Hmm.
painting and tape it really well. Um, so there's things
And
like
then
that
put
you
it
can
in the
look into.
box.
Yeah. Most of the time now I package everything myself. But again, if I run out of time, then I just go to FedEx.
Cool. And then to
Hmm.
go back to when you stretch your own canvas for really, really big pieces of work,
Hmm.
so do you just buy the rolled canvas like from the art store? Is it like
Yeah.
how did you learn how to do that? On your own again?
Actually, no, that I did learn in my high school art class.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which I failed, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I just never went to class. I was so bad. But anyway, yeah, I did learn that in high school. And you buy like a roll. You can choose like how many yards or whatever that you want, and they'll cut it for you. And you make your frame at home. You staple all of that, and then you stretch the canvas. Like you really have to stretch it on each side, and it helps if it's two people. And then you staple the canvas.
So you have your staple gun and the wood, you cut it or do you buy it
No,
already?
you can buy the frames. Like they're called stretcher bars, and they
Is
have
this Home
like
Depot or the art store?
no, the art store. Any art store will have them.
Oh, and
I
so it
think
just comes
Michael's
out
has
cheaper?
them.
So like
Yes, it does, but it depends where you're going. If
Mm.
you go to Michael's, you might as well just buy a canvas because they're always on sale.
Yeah.
And they're cheaper, and you don't want to spend all of that time.
doing it
The only times that I stretch my own
is when they're
canvases
crazy.
are if they're really, really big pieces, or if someone requests, like, I want it to be hand stretched.
Oh, so
So-
that is also like a request.
Mhm.
Ah, nice. And have you, through all this experience and stuff, have you met like some big people in the art world? Not like big in sense of like popular, famous, but like collectors who own cool pieces. Like, have you got into
Yeah.
the community?
Yeah, I have. I've met a couple people, but you know, to be honest, I kind of just try and stay in my own lane and focus on what I have to do
So
because it's very distracting. I think when you see like meeting collectors is cool, meeting amazing, well-known artists is awesome, and you definitely can take a lot of inspiration from that. But you know, one, I'm like kind of busy all the time. I'm always
You
working
told me
on
the other day
something.
you were painting like 18 hours. Is
Yeah,
that what you said?
yeah.
In one day you painted straight up 18
Yeah, I did a
hours?
portrait. I finished another commission, and I finished a wall. So,
Wow.
you know, it was crazy. But I'm usually working on 5 to 6 pieces at once, give or take. So, you know, I really like to just do my own thing,
Cool.
you know, focus on me, focus on my goals, not what everyone else is doing.
What kind of art goals do you have that, like, if you had a few that you'd like to accomplish, like what are?
Well, now that I'm in Miami, I'd like to get a little bit of time under my belt, because I know a lot of the well-known artists here have been here forever, and most of them grew up here. So after maybe a couple years, I'd really like to partner with someone and try to open a studio for more like underprivileged kids who
Mm.
really just need that creative outlet. Because, you know, I know what it's like. When I was growing up, I grew up with a single mom of four, and we all had to hustle like our entire lives. And my mom was always constantly working two, three jobs, and she couldn't afford to get me like painting supplies or huge canvases and stuff. And you know, when you're dealing with those types of struggles in your life, it's really hard to find an outlet that
It's easy to find
you
like
can
negative
enjoy.
outlets too.
Yeah, you're right. It's so easy to fall into a lot of negative shit and be surrounded by really toxic people, and I went through that too. And
And those toxic people are going through the same thing too. Like,
yeah.
n- yeah. So that's cool. So that would be kind of a more like long term goal, like 2-3 years. You'd like to open up like a studio that.
Yeah, just like a workspace for kids to come and feel comfortable and
Would
safe.
it double
And
as a workspace for you too?
maybe I wouldn't mind doing, you know, teaching lessons or um, doing more of like art therapy classes for, you know, kids who have chronic illnesses or different types of, you know, PTSD.
So
or
you have this
things like
desire to give back to the community with
Yes,
art? That's something
absolutely.
you. Cool. Are you doing anything now?
Right now I won't announce it
Okay.
because it's still in the works, but a lot of work with kids because, you know, I think like having that outlet when I was younger helped me kind of it shaped me as an artist today. So, and as an adult. So, definitely some work with kids, but stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, we'll unveil it when
Yes.
you're ready.
Yes.
Nice. And so, just to kind of recap on the podcast, you've never really done something like this, right? Where it's like a conversation, not really an interview, more of a conversation.
Yeah, I haven't done too many podcasts. I've done a lot of interviews, some like videos, but nothing as laid back and open as this.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's more like black and white. Like, where'd you grow up? How'd you get started in art? What are you doing now? You know,
And how long have you been in Miami now?
a year.
A year?
A
Oh,
year.
so not too long.
I'm still fresh here. Yeah.
Wow.
But I love it. I think my art has changed so much since I've been here. I think it's gotten a lot more colorful. I don't know what it is about it, but
Did you
about
you
Miami.
sold all your paintings? There's only like a few in here.
I
Or do you
sold-
have some stashed away somewhere?
I have a couple stashed away, but I do a lot of commissions.
So awesome.
My collections usually I sell here and there, but just a lot of custom work. You know, like people always contact me and like, can you do this portrait in your style? Or
Do you ever feel like it's awesome how confident you are in your work and your process and that you don't undervalue yourself? I think, has that been a journey also? Because I know me myself, I just want people to like see my work, that I undervalue it, and I'm just like, here, put it up, or you want to buy it, I'll sell it to you for this. And I think that's also a process.
Yeah.
When you kind of, then you're like, okay, you kind of hold your chin up high and you're like, this is my work, this is what it's worth, and it's valuable. Was that also like a journey for you?
yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone is their own worst critic, but I'm like the first person to like not like something and everyone else will love it. You know what I mean? So really building that confidence in my work took a lot of time, but also like a lot of artists will ask me like, how do you price your work? I don't know. Like, is it your time? Is it your supplies? Is it both?
So artists reaching out to you like kind of as like a mentor, like you were mentioning?
Sometimes, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, just advice on like
Mhm.
little things here and there, and I'm more than willing to help all the time, you know. But I always tell them, if you're gonna price your work, whatever price you put on it should feel like 100% right. Like, yes, my work is worth this much and nothing less, and that's what you sell it for. Like, how much is your time worth? You know what I mean? You really got to think about how valuable your time is. If I'm doing like 10 pieces, I'm not going to sell a painting for, you know, $20 that took me, or like $200 that took me weeks to do.
Yeah.
You know, you really have to realize that your time is valuable, so your work is even more valuable, you know, when you're selling it.
And then it also makes it challenging if you are trying to pay certain bills, or you need product, you need supplies.
Yeah.
So I think the journey for an artist or any really creative person, in going from creating your work to being able to pay for your own product, your own bills, your own time,
Yeah.
that whole process is super challenging
Yeah.
for any artist.
It's very difficult, but also for artists, like, think about it from the buyer's perspective. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to buy art from someone who's coming off like they're struggling and they're so like desperate for a sale, and they're so like, it's not attractive for a buyer to see that. Do you know what I mean? So as an artist, no matter what struggle you're going through, you have to keep your chin up, you have to keep your head up, and you have to just sell it for what it's worth. Don't sell the story about like, I really need to pay my bills. Like, I know it's hard, trust me, like,
That's
I've
great
been there
advice.
for a long time.
Yeah.
But you gotta have confidence in your work, and you know, your work ethic, and like all the pieces that you put in front of people, you know? This is what I do, this is how much it is. That's what it is. If you would like to purchase it, you can. If not, it's okay. You know, on to the next customer.
Cool.
So,
Yeah. That's great. Great advice. Good tips.
Yeah.
And so when you do get a commission order, what's so people love your style. They're like, I want this painting. Do they tell you, I want Muhammad Ali, and that's it? And then you just create it? Or like, what's the commission process?
Well, I've actually been really lucky in my career to be able to do like what I want most of the time. Like, I would say like 99% of the time when people reach out to me, it's always, hey, I have this idea, I have this portrait of me and my fiance, I want you to paint us, but do it in your style, do whatever you want.
And then boom, that's chill.
Yeah.
Have you had any other scenarios with that where it's kind of been like, I don't have you had any problems? Or
Yeah, actually, not problems, but I always communicate. If someone tells me like, okay, I want these colors,
okay,
I want it like abstract, like one of the portraits that you do, then I will always say, okay, I'll take a photo of the abstract, the colors and stuff before the portrait, and I send it to them just to get the okay.
Smart.
And then if they love it, then I'll move forward. If they don't love it, then I'll be like, what can I change? What colors can I add?
Which I'm sure rarely happens, right?
It's pretty rare.
But that's a good safety. That's like a good safety zone. So did that come from an experience?
No, actually, I just like to be precautious about that.
Cool.
You know, like, I don't want to paint this 3x4 foot painting, and then do the portrait, which takes me weeks, and someone doesn't like the colors. That's like the worst, because with oil you can't just scratch it and like
cover it.
Yeah, with acrylic you can do that, but not oil. So it's really just about like knowing your steps and taking the right appropriate steps to make sure that your customer or your client is like 100% happy. Yeah.
And then when that happens, do you see a lot of repeat business and referrals like directly from the people?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I'm a one-person business for now, and I want to make sure that everyone is like 110% like happy.
Super happy.
Yeah, with what they get.
And in terms of so the canvas is like what you primarily do, and do people you don't really use any type of framing or anything like that, right? Is that something you just don't deal with?
No,
or
I can. I offer that to my clients. Like,
Mm.
if they want me to frame a piece, I can do that, but it's an additional charge.
Of course. Do you
And
do that yourself also? Like you build the frame?
no, no, no,
Okay,
no,
so you
no,
have like a
no.
contact
Yes.
where you already kind of know like different rates and
Yeah.
stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah. And for prints, I offer that too. Like, I can either ship you the print,
Mm.
or if you want me to frame it, I can do that as well for an
So
additional
you have
charge.
like a collection of things that can be printed?
Yeah,
Is that on like Etsy or
on my website.
Oh, you have your own website?
Yeah.
What's the website?
It's www.ameliast.com.
Cool. And we're gonna put like all your links in the description and your website, so someone can go on your website and buy like a paper print. Can they buy a canvas print too?
I used to offer canvas prints. I don't
Complicated?
anymore. Well, no, it wasn't complicated. I just the company I'm working with now has like much better quality prints, but and they're more expensive for me too.
Okay.
But I just think that the quality is better and people can frame it easier. But I still do canvas prints if you send me an email.
Gotcha.
So you can email me at info@ameliast.com.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get all that when we're done, so we
Okay.
can put it in. So this print shop, is it local? It's in Miami?
Actually, it's in Fairfax, in Virginia.
Fairfax. Oh wow.
Mhm.
And so how do you get the high quality digital file and send it to them? Do you take your own picture? What do you do?
Yeah, I have scanned images, and I also have some prints that are high-res photos. I have like a nice professional camera that I
Okay.
take a photo of it and things like
And the
that.
color, do you do any type of post coloring, or do you capture it pretty well with your camera?
I capture it pretty well. Sometimes
It's tricky though. It's tricky to get
sometimes,
it.
yeah, if I have to edit it, I'll hold the painting like next to
Cool.
where I'm editing, so I can make sure that they're the exact same colors.
And then the digital scan, is that just for small pieces, or how do you do that?
You
What
have
is that?
to
A
go.
print scanner, or like you take it somewhere and
You
there's a
have to take it
huge
somewhere.
scanner?
You have to take it somewhere. They usually have a pretty big
Oh,
scanner.
so you can take one of your huge canvases and get it like digitally scanned?
Yeah, you
Mm.
can, but it's costly. So you
That
have to
costs a
look
lot of
into
money?
it.
Oh. I guess once you do it just once and then it's good.
Yeah. Then you have your images. You can hang on to them, for a while.
Awesome. Yeah, that whole I was with another artist. His name is Robert Sylvain. He's a
Mhm.
Haitian artist. He's super cool. He moved from Haiti to New York like in 1965 when like all the hippies were there and like
Wow.
the different civil rights movements, and he went to New York for a year and then he came to Miami. But talking to him, he's like 60 now, but he doesn't look a day over 45. And he paints all day originals. Like I asked him in the podcast, he said he's painted like 4,000 paintings, maybe more. So
Yeah.
this guy's just originals. And I asked him, I was like, oh, do you have prints or do you do anything like that? And he's like, I have so many things that I want to do with my art that he doesn't really like to, he thinks he's like, when I'm dead, there'll be prints. So he's
Yeah,
very like
so he's,
focused
like,
on his time
what
here
he's doing
now,
now, yeah.
which is really cool to hear that.
That is really cool.
Because prints, I feel like some artists can be like, oh, prints, I'm gonna sell these, and then they can like focus so much on that and lose kind of touch. Kind of like what you
Yeah.
were saying earlier with artists, who knows, like just taking pictures on a lamb or just getting confused with like what they're really doing.
Yeah.
So that was cool talking to him about
Yeah,
that.
you definitely have to focus on like how do you want to be remembered in the art world, in the world in general, in your family life, in your personal life. How do you want to be remembered? For me, art is everything. Like, that's how everyone knows me. My family, my friends, the world, social media. That's how everyone knows me.
Yeah.
But that's really who I am. Like, what I put out there is what I care about. So, it's easy to get tied up in other things, that making money, selling prints, doing things like that, having cool events and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, what's your bigger purpose here, So the print thing for me, it's kind of like a fun thing on the side. It's to make it accessible for people who can't
Exactly.
get an
a
original that's
whole
thousands of
original,
dollars.
and
Yeah.
that's an awesome part of it. So I think as an artist, if you establish your like printing relationship and you set it up and have it as a tool,
Yeah.
that is also awesome.
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, just thinking, since I've been doing this, I've been learning about different artists, like Warhol and all the names, I just forgot them now. But it's crazy how many artists died at 27, at 30. I mean, I'm 27 right now,
Mm.
and like just to think, if I died tomorrow, what would I have? I'd have like a
What would you
few
have left
started
behind?
paintings,
Yeah.
some drawings. I have a business. I'm starting a podcast, but I haven't really like created everything I want to create. So that made me realize, like, damn, like when this artist died at 27 or this artist died at 30, like imagine if they lived to be as old as Picasso and did as much work as him. So it was kind of like a reality check,
Yeah.
just being like, fuck, take care of your health, focus on what you got to do,
Focus on the people
and
and things that
hopefully
you
you
love.
live to be really long and do all these great things. But if anything does go wrong in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, don't have any regrets and go out with a bang.
Yeah, but the important thing is that you're doing it now, and you've been doing it for quite some time now. That's important to understand too, is like some people don't find their purpose or their passion like until their 50s, 60s, 70s, or some never find it because they never look for it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think life is so precious, and I think all of us have a purpose here. We just have to find it and go for it, because there's so many people out there who struggle with different things, with different addictions, with different family problems and financial problems, and mental problems, and I think that art and various nonprofit ideas and just things like that can really help people. Music, any type of art, it can really help people. So I think we're all here for that purpose, to find our purpose in life and help inspire other people to do the same.
Beautiful. And what do you think of this whole art scene blossoming in Wynwood? And have you ever seen I know up north they have very like artsy things. Have you ever seen anything like Wynwood, like a full art district? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
Definitely in New York, all over New York.
Cool.
Yeah, and I've been dying to go traveling like back to Europe because I've never been to London, which surprises most people, but I know they're like Wynwood times 100. So
Really?
I'm excited to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think Wynwood is amazing. I think it's definitely been blossoming a lot in the last couple years, and even before that. And now it's kind of like a lot of building going on, a lot of construction and things like that coming up. I think it's cool. Like, people say, oh God, it's so saturated, it's so this, it's so that. All these artists, they're just all messed up artists. I don't know how to explain. They're all like saturated artists, whatever. Nobody cares. But that's not the point. The point is that like people are out there going for it.
I feel like that's just the haters.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares what the fucking market looks like? Like, do your thing. That's what I was talking about earlier. Do your thing. Stay in your lane. Focus on what you're doing. Who cares about what everyone else is doing? And even if you do decide to like think about everyone around you, they're creating art. Let them create art.
Yeah, let them just do what they want to do.
Everyone just do their own thing. Spread good vibes with art, Who cares?
Yeah, cool. And then I have one more question to kind of pick your brain on. Because I'm trying to learn how to use spray paint.
Okay.
My art, it is like abstract, but I like to do like bigger shapes and things like that. So if I can convert what I do now with acrylics and pens and pencils to spray paint for like murals, that would be awesome. So I started out just buying like spray paint cans from Home Depot because I didn't know there were like art spray paint cans.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get like the patterns. Like, what kind of like tips or advice can you give me on spray paint that you kind of like learned? Like those super skinny lines, is that from spray paint?
No, those are from
Brush?
which ones? The drips?
Or
the
like
drips?
no, like these sprays here, the blue and the pink.
No, those are. Yes, yes, those are spray.
So is it just like
So
a small cap or?
yeah, so there's different caps. What I recommend is two things. One, just get a bunch of cans. Get like a different
Like
brand.
art cans? Like
Mhm.
okay.
Get different brands. See what kinds you like. I really love Montana Gold and Black. Those are like very fluid and very easy to work with, but they're a little pricey.
Is this
Um,
because of pressures, like can pressure?
yeah, there's different pressures, and there's different like caps that you can
Mm-hmm.
use. So I would just experiment with it and paint like as much as you can. Maybe grab like a big thing of cardboard, or I
I
don't
have
know.
a huge
I
garage
probably
door.
shouldn't say go on the street, but I'm gonna get you in trouble. But
I have good advice for that. If you are gonna go on the street and take some stuff and you have no clue about any of that, like street art, just go somewhere where there's a bunch of street art over everywhere and find a little empty space.
yeah,
That way you have no
don't
beef.
go. Yeah, don't go over someone else's. But just practice. Like try different caps, try different brands, and just practice. And also, YouTube is a great resource for you too, because there's a lot of graffiti artists now who are posting like a bunch of videos on techniques for blending, for
Cool.
thin lines, for thick lines, for shading, for
Awesome.
whatever. So definitely check out YouTube.
Yeah, so I do have like the Montana cans because one day I went to the art store and the guy like he broke down some things for me.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, they're
cool.
always so helpful.
At Blick.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Blick. Yeah, they're always so nice. And then there's like, I'm always discovering new art stores. When I go into an art store, it's doomsday for me because there's
Yeah.
always things on sale. I'm like, bah,
I know,
bah,
I
bah. So he explained to me, he's like, okay, obviously you shake the can good, and then he's like, before you start, like turn it upside down, spray it like twice or something. When I was using these cans, it was bleeding. Like I would spray, and then it was like leaking paint.
Mhm.
How do you like prevent that, or what is that? Like, is that
Um,
because I'm spraying too much, holding it, or I didn't shake it enough?
No, it could just be like a little bit clogged and it starts to like bubble and start dripping out. So you just hold it upside down and just spray it for a long time until you see all of that shit come out.
Oh.
And then it
Okay.
should unclog it, you know? And yeah, it's also like technique too. Like you don't want to, if you go like left to right, sometimes like you'll get the little blotches of paint. Where if you want like a smooth surface, you go like up and down.
Wow.
So
Hmm. And so, would you say you feel pretty good with spray paint, or do you feel like you're still
Yes.
learning?
No, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with spray paint now. I think like last year I wasn't for sure because I was just doing canvases.
Like
But-
mural, like could you do one of your like portraits with spray paint?
Yes.
That's
but
tricky, right?
Yeah, but I prefer not to. I prefer to use spray for large areas,
Mhm.
and for details, I really like to use a brush because I just feel like
Of course.
you can control it better.
Yeah, isn't it incredible when they do like huge murals all with spray paint and it
Yeah.
looks like hyper realistic and you're
Yeah.
just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
One more question.
Okay.
When you are doing like a mural, like say I get a mural, a gig, and I use spray paint to lay all my colors and everything, and then I want to, like with a thick brush, I want to do like my patterns and stuff. Should I just buy like paint from like the paint store, like wall paint, like what?
Yeah. So outside or inside?
Outside.
Okay. So for outside, you want to get an exterior paint.
Okay, like if you're painting a
So-
house.
Yeah. So if you go, I really like to go to Home Depot or Lowe's or something and get the interior or exterior paint. And a lot of times they have like the scrap area, like they have those pints that people return. They didn't like
Oh,
the
so
color for their house.
smart.
Yeah, and they're really, really
Super cheap.
inexpensive. Yeah, and you don't have to spend a ton of money on like this big gallon that you're not going to use.
Mhm.
So go see what colors you like from there first, and then you can go get your base colors. But yeah, definitely exterior for outside, interior for inside. Sometimes you can use acrylic or latex based paints
Okay.
for inside too. But that's important because
Yeah, it is.
if you use a water base outside, it's
It'll-
gonna wash.
Oh.
It's gonna wash out a little bit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all the knowledge and
Yeah, of course.
I think it's going to be very helpful for anyone listening who does want to just kind of commit to their artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned earlier, I feel like that's a journey that every artist takes, you know, committing to their artwork.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants to get a commission from you, buy your work,
Yeah.
check you out, we'll have all the info in the description. Do you have one last like word of advice or anything you'd like to tell people?
I guess artists that are like pursuing art full time, just keep grinding. Don't be too hard on yourself, and remember that like if one door closes, if one commission doesn't go through or one mural doesn't work out, another one will open for you. So try not to be so hard on yourself about that, because I run into that too a lot. And if anyone has any questions, like I don't have all the answers, but please email me or send me a DM or something, and I would be more than happy to answer them. So
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thanks again, and
thank you
hopefully
guys so much.
we have you on another time. Maybe you can come out. We're the house I own. It's in Kendall, and we're making it an art house.
That's awesome.
So as of now, it has solar panels. So it's a green art house. It has a basketball hoop. I have areas like that I want to make murals with different artists.
Okay.
And then I have like a bunch of workspace. So we're really trying to make it like an art house, like make it trippy and like cool.
Yeah,
And
that
so,
sounds amazing.
Yeah, one day we'd love to have you come out there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, for everyone listening, make sure to like, dislike the video, leave a comment. If you know any artists at all from Homestead to West Palm to Naples, anywhere in Florida, let us know, because we want to plan little road trips too and like try to get a few artists in different cities.
Yeah.
And yeah, subscribe to the channel and have a wonderful week, and we'll see you for another episode.
Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.